What's happening, guys? It's Jeremy Blanton with RE/MAX Southern Shores, and as I shared in my video last week, we talked about what's going on in the real estate market, and I kind of went through a review of what happened during 2023 and what to expect as we go into 24 and even into 2025. As I shared a little quick review for everybody who may not have watched it, and if you want to see the whole thing, I'm not going to go through it all here, but you can pause right now, go back, I'll click to it right here, you can go over and check it all out and see what's going to happen. But to give a quick little review, back in 2020, rates were in the low threes at that time. Then we had a world pandemic take place and rates dropped down, got down under 3% for a while. Then as we got into 2022, they came up a little bit, and 2023 came and inflation hit. And when inflation came, they needed to do something to try to balance the market. And so what did they do? They started raising interest rates. And we've seen some of the most aggressive rate changes that we've ever seen in our country. Rates went from in the threes to up to 8% in a matter of months' time. Well, when that happened, everybody put pause on buying. They didn't say, I'm not buying a house anymore. They just said, I'm not buying a house right now. And so now, during this time, we have had a huge pent-up demand of people looking to buy. Here's some stats that I'll share with you. In the last several months, we've had 7 million newborn babies. We've had 3 million new marriages. We've had 1.5 million divorces. 7 million people turned 65 years old. 4 million deaths, 4 million net new jobs, and 50 million job switches. Now, with that job switching taking place, one of the biggest segments that has had that happen is the millennials. Millennials make up 45.5 million people that are in that group that are going to be looking for houses. And a lot of them, it's their first time home buying. What has happened with them over the last several years? Well, when the pandemic hit, a lot of them were still at home. They stayed at home. They're living in mom's basement right now or up in the attic, one of the two. And they now are tired of being there. They have good paying jobs that they've had working remotely for who knows how many years. They have good amount of income. They have money saved up because they've been living at home, and they are now ready to jump into the market. This group is coming in full force, I feel, as we head into this next year. And it's probably going to be one of the largest segments of people buying houses throughout Myrtle Beach and across the country as we head into 2024. And that's actually something that already I started seeing this past year. Let me share a few stories about some clients that I helped here recently buy houses in the area. The first that I want to talk about is a gentleman. He came down from Rhode Island. He had a house that was up there, lived in a house, it was 1,300 square feet. He had 2 bedrooms in it and a 1-car garage. He actually took the 1-car garage, converted it into a bedroom for one of his kids, and they were paying ridiculous amounts of money on taxes, living in the cold of the Northeast, and was just absolutely miserable with where they lived. So they came down here, started checking out the area, thinking about making the move to Myrtle Beach, and they were able to come down, buy a brand new construction home. The home that they bought was a 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath house over in the Parks in Carolina Forest. If you've never checked out that neighborhood, it's an awesome one. I actually did a couple of videos on it. Check one out right here. It's got some amazing amenities in the Parks, and they were able to buy that 5-bedroom, 3.5 bath house with over 3,000 square feet, a huge backyard, brand new, and they were able to take their expenses from the tiny little house they had that was built back in the 1960s to this brand new home and save $37 a month on their payments. So I have helped many people that are in the same kind of situation that they are. I also had another client who came here from Oregon. They run their own business. They had a small house, maybe 1,500 square feet, built back in like the 50s and 60s. This old house, very small, no garage, no storage, no anything. 2 children, 2 adults, and a business that 2 people were running all inside this home. Needless to say, they were on top of each other all the time. And they were looking for a new lifestyle, a new place to live, better weather, lower cost of living, lower property taxes, everything that we talk about here in Myrtle Beach. And they came, visited the area. They ended up finding a gorgeous custom home that they were able to purchase here. They sold their house up in Bend, Oregon, moved here, got this brand new house that was over 4,000 square feet, custom, gorgeous, huge offices, everything you can think of and more in the house. And they were able to save about $50,000 off of the purchase of the house here versus the one they sold in Oregon. So these types of situations are taking place all across the area here on a regular basis. People are saying, I'm tired of living in Michigan. I have friends right now that are up in Michigan and they're real near and dear to us. And we were FaceTiming them the other day. And while we were FaceTiming, they said, oh, it's snowing. And they held the phone out the window. They had 4 inches of snow on the ground. At the same time, that same day, it was 75 degrees here in Myrtle Beach. Why in the world would you want to live in snow when you can have sun in the beach and 75 degrees? I don't know. But they're going to probably come back one day really soon because they're just tired of the cold up there. What they told me when they moved up there is that, Jeremy, it's just gray skies year round. And as someone who grew up in Pennsylvania, I remember those days where we just stayed inside for weeks at a time. You couldn't go outside, you couldn't enjoy things. You know, over Thanksgiving break this year, my in-laws and all of my wife's family came to our town. Some of them live in Portland, Oregon, some of them live in Atlanta, Georgia, and they came here to the beach. Why? Because we had gorgeous weather. We were able to go down to the beach several times throughout the week while everyone was here, enjoy it. We went out to dinner several times, got to try a lot of the awesome local hot spots here in the area for lunch and for breakfast, and had all these great meals and just had an awesome time right here in Myrtle Beach. They all started to talk about, man, it's so much more affordable living here than other parts of the country. This is what happens here in Myrtle Beach on a regular basis. And so I think that as we get into 2024, you're going to see more and more people from that millennial group say, you know what? Maybe it's time for us to make a move. Maybe we should start checking out places like Myrtle Beach because it's affordable. You know, some of the other parts of the country like New York, New Jersey, Oregon, you know, California, different states, it's not affordable anymore for them to live. You know, I spoke to people recently that were in San Diego. The cheapest thing they could find there, which was a teardown, was well north of $1 million. You can spend $1 million and tear it down and then have to spend another $1 million to build something, or come here, get something brand new for $300,000 to $500,000. You tell me which one you'd like to do. In addition, yes, they have amazing weather in San Diego, but other parts of California, it's not as nice, it's not as great, and you still have that extreme cost of living. Or places like Texas. Over the last year, I've helped several people who moved here from the Texas area. Why are they coming? Taxes there for their home are ridiculously expensive. They could have a $400,000 to $500,000 house there, and taxes could easily be $8,000 to $10,000 a year on that property. Coming over here to Myrtle Beach and it's their primary residence, that tax could be maybe $2,000 a year. And if you're someone who's over the age of 65, you can then also apply for the homestead exemption. And once you live in that house for one full calendar year, you can then get an additional $50,000 off the assessed value, which is going to save you a couple $100 more on the taxes. So you could have that $500,000 house in Texas and pay $8,000 to $10,000 a year, or come over here to Myrtle Beach, have a brand new $400,000 to $500,000 house and taxes maybe at $1,500 a year, and have the beach right around the corner from you. You tell me which one you'd like to have. So as you can see, guys, moving to Myrtle Beach might be something you want to consider this year. And if you're thinking about looking for your first time home buyer place, Myrtle Beach might be a great option for you. Or maybe you're somebody who's looking to retire. Myrtle Beach is also one of the top destinations for people who are looking at retirement in the near future. We have people that are coming to visit here all the time. We have a huge number of people who come from the Northeast. Why do you want to live in New York, New Jersey, Ohio, where you're paying $8,000 to $10,000 a year in taxes and dealing with feet of snow, not just, dusting, but feet of snow, where you could live at the beach, have lower cost of living, and have the ocean right around the corner from you. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this week's video. If you do, as always, do me a favor, give it a thumbs up, get the bell on, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.